This is my lecture on Edith Wharton. Today we're going to be talk more about information of the author and her short story, Roman Fever. We're going to begin by talking about the author. Edith Wharton, place of birth. Edith Wharton was born in New York in 1862, but as a child she spent 6 years in Europe, and she died in 1937. She was a member of the American Revolution. Her writing during her time, she was well known for her feminist works of literature between 1900 and 1938. Her works are set during World War I. Most of her works cover themes about feminist politics and society. The genre, style, and literary movement she is associated with. Edith Wharton was one of the most versatile writers of her lifetime. She was a gifted, prolific poet, a controversial playwright, a trailblazing travel writer, a hugely influential writer in the fields of architecture and design, and she was an innovative literary critic. Her writing style is called social realism. She is applauded for addressing the stereotypical role and status of women in society and the challenges of married women during her times, such as divorce issue. She also discussed dynamic social standards that have been created for women regarding their place in the workspace and home. She is associated with the realism movement. Looking into her works, there are 5 most important of her works. The first one is The Age of Innocence, 1921. It's the first Pulitzer Prize won by a woman. The second one is The House of Mirth, 1905. It's the first major success. The third one is Ethan Foam, 1911. The fourth one is Decoration of the House, 1897. It's the first published work, Successful Guide to Interior Designs. The fifth one is The Mount, 1902, designed around her principles. For other writers have to say about Edith Wharton. Ricky Wenzel say her works include Persephone as a culture or ideological motif. She traced this phenomena to the emergence of the Persephone myth in American writing during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Now we're going to talk about the interesting facts about the author. She was an American writer and designer. She designed her home, the Mount, which today serves as a cultural center. She was born in a time when women were limited in many ways, but she managed to break through and become one of America's greatest writers. She was considered one of America's best female novelists. In 1921, she was the first woman awarded a Pulitzer Prize for her novel, The Age of Innocence, and an honorary degree from Yale University in 1923. She was in the Age of Innocence of Victorian New York. She was not sent to school but learned with tutors part of the time while in traveling or living in foreign residence. She married Teddy Wharton in 1885. Same social class. She was unhappy with her marriage, 28 years of marriage, and divorced in 1913. After that, she spent the rest of her life in France. Next, let's begin talking about Edith Wharton. Short story, Roman Fever. The story was written in 1934 and published as part of the collection The World Over. The genre of Roman Fever. Wharton tells of bittersweet revenge, a story that is also about how the present negotiates the past, and the prevailing terms of social success lead to a distortion of our humanity. The summary of Roman Fever begins with two middle-aged women met again accidentally in Rome after many years. The two have much personal history, and Rome is a place where they had shared history. They contemplate vaguely the Roman vista and numerous ironies that emerge at their having been brought together once again. They were brought to the scene of destruction, the Roman Forum, leaning as if at the limit of some terrible drama, threatening to take both of them into its oblivion. Both have been teenagers here, and both has found husband here. Both women have daughters. Both of them are able to marry, which are sent on a double date. Their conversation lead to a reopening of old wounds, rivalry, renewed violence, and a series of liberation. 25 years before, Alida Slade had forwarded a letter to Grace Ansley in the name of Alida's future husband, Delphin Slade, in order to get rid of Grace. The letter set up a rendezvous between Grace and Delphin in the Colosseum, though of course Delphin, according to Alinda's plan, would not be there. Alinda said she knew Grace would not die from Roman fever, even though Alinda sent her to the Colosseum in the cold night air. This does not diminish the essential violence of that letter. In a moment of forced contrition, Alida is willing to grant Grace this one procession, a memory, since Alida eventually married the man both of them loved and brought Delphin legitimate child. Alida says Grace has nothing but a pony letter, while she herself has Delphin, his money, his name, and his child for 25 years. Grace restored with the most effective comeback possible, the fact that she had Delphin's child, Barbara. The main themes, symbols, and takeaways derived from the work. The theme in Roman Fever include social status. Social status is important to both Grace and Alida. Alida feels superior because she married Delphin, who was high-ranking corporate lawyer. The symbols in this story. The main characters are warned about Roman fever from their elders and pass the idea of this fever to their family. in the hopes that they might need the warning and not give it in to it. Roman fever and malaria was a significant danger. This was especially true at night when the mosquitoes that carry malaria were more active. Just like the mosquito, these women are quite out to get each other and spread their jealousy like a bite. Takeaway drive from the work. Roman fever shows that appearances are not what they seem. Nearly every preconceived notion the women have of each other, as well as each of the leaders' preconception, is overturned. At the same time, the story reveals a great deal about the expected roles of women in the early part of the century that are passive onlookers content to abide by society rules and live out prescribed roles. How the work fit into literary movement. The story fit with the literary movement of realism due to the realistic portrayal of common everyday life for women in society. It demonstrates hypocritical friendship, the rivalry between high-class women, betrayal among friends, and the superficial ideas of middle-aged women. Edith Wharton, as an author that wasn't afraid to write about the sexual identity of a woman, as they have been suppressed by men for decades, and she perfectly writes about the social challenge that come with being a woman. Edith Wharton, Roman fever, describes many aspects of day-to-day life not limited to wealthy women, but can also be found in every human being. Realism tries to show the most truthful representation of the world, and Roman fever does this really well. It demonstrates how humans are not morally perfect and how we can make mistakes that harm ourselves and other people as well. What other writer have to say about her work? The assistant professor of English Dale Brower say her work is a masterpiece of historical coherence. He said that Wharton writes some historical illegitimacy. Thank you for watching, and sorry for any mispronunciation.